Okay, well, I'm curious. Let's dig into another aspect of your time at school, both high school and at Harvard. We were talking about you being a nerd or a geek throughout those years, but there was another side to you that most nerds or geeks don't really have to them usually. You were also an athlete. You
Yeah.
were the captain of your high school wrestling team. Oh, nothing. That's kind of a big accomplishment.
Okay.
And
Although it's New York City wrestling, it's not Iowa wrestling. In
well,
Iowa and Oklahoma,
Well,
they're corn
while you were
fed.
at Harvard,
The corn fed athletes, just to be clear. And they come in, that's a whole other just universe. But go on, go on.
while you were at Harvard, I think in your senior year, you even lettered as a wrestler. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I had a losing record. I mean, I enjoyed wrestling, so I didn't do it because I was great at it.
Mhm.
Although I was good, but I wasn't like, they didn't write
If I could
articles about.
interrupt, Neil, I'm sorry. What I want to focus on with wrestling is not your necessarily your success as an athlete, but the discipline that it requires just to participate at a collegiate level in that challenging sport. So, how do you think that your experience as a wrestler, and like I said, the discipline that it takes, how do you think that sort of helps shape who you are today?
So um, it shapes in ways that you know. There's the um, now cliched. Well, the sports and I learned teamwork and leadership and this. Sure, okay, but for me, it served two roles. It was an escape from whatever else I was doing in the day,
Yeah.
an escape. And second, in wrestling, if you lose, you lost. There are other sports where if you lose, well, because someone dropped the pass or someone didn't make the final goal or somebody, and there's a whole sort of participation of whether what you're doing is good or not. The one-on-one construct of wrestling is for me, it's the purest of sports in that sense. And it's speed, agility, strength, and the person you're up against is exactly your weight. So you couldn't be better matched in a contest than in a one-on-one wrestling match. And so yes, it's discipline. It's discipline of it puts structure on your day. It disciplines what you eat, how often you eat. Um, it and also I'm going to make this statement, which can only be appreciated if you've ever wrestled. Okay. So it's a little awkward to just deliver this because as an educator, I like my sentences to be receivable by anybody, but I'll just make this statement. Okay. I don't care what sport you have ever engaged in, the triathlon, the marathon, cross country skiing, distance swimming. I don't care. If you have ever wrestled and someone asks you, what's the hardest sport you've ever done? Your answer will be wrestling. So, in other words, if you haven't wrestled, you'll get 20 different answers from all manner of people, depending on what their sports commitments are. If they have ever wrestled, they'll say wrestling. And I've tested this with no end. So my point is, it is remains to this day the greatest physical challenge I have ever faced. And so what that does is benchmark any other physical challenge you might have. All right. So you can say, no, this is not as hard as when I was wrestling. You need benchmarks in life. Otherwise, you lose calibration
Yeah.
for how to react to forces that operate on you,
Sure.
either with you or against you. So for me, that's the role wrestling played. Plus, I just enjoyed the strength agility combination of that.
I saw a photo. I don't know if you tweeted it or something. I can't remember where I came across it. A photo of when you were a wrestler, and you were indeed strong. You were incredibly.
That photo got out from somebody at some point, so now it's just out there. No, I did not tweet that photo. Um, my my tweets are not nowhere near that self-serving, but yeah, in fact, I had just in that photo, I just come off the mat and I had just lost, and I was
Oh,
removing my headgear. That's what it is. And I was just coming, and the photo was taken at a low angle,
Uh-huh.
so it looks kind of. It's the one I think you're referring to,
Yeah,
and I look kind of hulking as I come off. But yeah, I was to be in shape. That's being in shape.
definitely,
it
definitely.
it benchmarks future attempts to be in shape. I mean,
Uh-huh.
that's it's so for me. It benchmarked um, my physical existence for the rest of my life, even to this day. By
Sure.
the way, I will not say that it helped me do astrophysics. It didn't, but it did serve as a diversion when I just needed to just clear my head. And wrestling will clear your head,
Yeah.
clear my head, and then come back and approach the problems fresh.